Hey everybody, I am going to go over yesterday and the day before's math. We're looking at line plots. So I know this is a lot of work. If you watched my previous video, hopefully that helped you. But if not, I'm going to go over this one. Today you're going to work on one also that is similar or the same steps to go through um, to find an average, which is always what the end goal of this is going to be, is to find the average. And we're going to use a line plot to help us do that. So first the thing we have to do first is use the data set above to complete the line plot chart. So it's nice, it's already given for us. So we have our fractions at the bottom, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and it's labeled for us. So all we have to do is go ahead and put an X for each number that's in our data set. And remember, this is a data set up here, right? A data set is just a listing of numbers or a group of numbers. So we're going to use that and place them on our chart. So I'm going to go through each one and I'm going to put an X for each number that I have in my data chart. So if I go up here to my data set, I have 1/4, so I'm going to put an X for 1/4. I have another 1/4, so I'm going to put an X again. I have 3/4, so let's put an X above 3/4. I have 1/2, X above 1/2. Let's make that better. And then I have another 1/4. I have 3/4, another 3/4, another 3/4. I have a 1/2, a 1. Oh, I didn't cross it off. I have a 1/4, 1/2, and a 1/2. So that's how you complete the chart. We use the X above. If you notice for this one, each one is 4. There should be 4 X's for each one, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4. I'll use a different color. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 3/4. So if you look, there should be 4 X's above each number. So now for us to find the total weight of all the bags, we have to actually find the total weight for each one of these fractions. So for 1/4, we have to find out the total amount of bags that are 1/4 pound. And then we have to find out the total amount of bags that are 1/2 pound, the total amount of weight. And then finally, we have to find the total for 3/4. Now to do that, we can simply multiply. We know that we have 1/4. I don't know why this keeps drawing lines on me. We know we have 1/4 in all of those bags, and there's 4 of them. So we can do repeated addition, or we can multiply, right? 1/4 times 4, or 4 over 1. So that's going to give us the total for 1/4, which would be 4 over 4, or 1 whole. So if I took the total number of bags, which there are 4 bags, and each of those bags have 1/4 pound in them, if I added all of those bags up, I would get 1 pound. Oh man, I don't know what's going on with my thing today. I would get 1 pound. So here's why I want to use the other page, because look at, I've already taken up too much space. I'm just going to label on this second page here. I'm just going to label here. I did my 1/4 times the 4 X's that were above it, and I came out with 4/4 or 1 whole. And again, we're talking about weight, and this is 1 whole pound. Okay, I'm going to go back and forth between the screens. So now we're going to do 1/2. There are 4 X's above 1/2. So I need to take the amount in each one, 1/2 pound, multiply it by how many there are. There are 4 bags that have a 1/2 pound in them. When I do that, I can multiply. And if I simplify this, right, divide the bottom into the top, 2 goes into 4. I have 2 pounds. And then I have one more to look at. I have my 3/4, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 X's above it. So I'm going to take 3/4, and I'm going to go ahead and multiply by the 4 X's that are above it. And then, let's see what we get here. I'm going to cross cancel here. So I'm going to take away my equal sign. So I'm going to cross cancel here and say I can divide u by 4. I can divide u by 4. And then I'll have 3 over 1 times 1 over 1, and I'll get 3 over 1, or 3 pounds. So now I found out that I had 4 bags that were 1/4 pound, and the total weight in them was 1 pound. So I added up all 4 of those, or I multiplied by 4. In the 1/2 pound bags, I had 4 1/2 pound bags. That's why I multiplied by 4, or 4 over 1, and I came up with 2 pounds. And then finally, I did the same thing for bags that had 3/4 of a pound in it. There were 4 of them again, so I multiplied, and I got 3 pounds. Now, if I want to find out this first question, what's the total weight of the trail mix used in all the bags? I have the totals for each one, right? I have the 1/4 pound bags were 1 pound, the 1/2 pound bags were 2 pounds, the 3/4 pound bags, the total of them were 3 pounds. Now, if I want the total for everything, all I have to do is add up these 3 numbers, right? The 1/4, the 1/2 pound bags, and the 3/4 pound bags. So I have 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is going to give me 6 pounds. So for the first part of this question, our answer is 6 pounds. So in all the bags, it's 6 pounds. Now, you could figure this out another way, but it's going to take longer than what we just did. You could add all of these weights together. You could do 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4, right? We could add all of those up. We would still get the same number of 6 pounds, but it was easier for us to group them together like we did down here with our chart, group them together, and then multiply each of those groups, and then add that total together. So we got a total weight of 6 pounds. Once we get the total, this last part is really easy. I'm just going to go ahead and put that our total was 6 pounds. Now we're going to find the average, okay? For us to find the average, all we need to do is go back and take a look at our chart. And we're going to count up how many X's there are in our chart. So if I do that here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 X's on our chart. That means there's 12 numbers in that data set. So for us to find an average, what we're going to do is take the total, which we already have, and we're dividing that total by how many numbers were in the data set. And again, we did that by counting up the number of X's. So the number of X's right here tell us how many total numbers. So we count them all up, we got 12. That means I'm going to be taking my total weight, which was 6 pounds, and dividing it by 12. Now we just did this. We related fractions to division. So we have to remember, here is our numerator, here is our denominator. So when we convert this into a fraction, we get 6/12, and that can be simplified into 1/2. So the average amount of trail mix in each bag is 1/2. Okay, so when we find an average, we have to get a total, so add everything up. We use the line plot to kind of make that a little bit easier for us instead of adding all over and over and over 12 times those 3 different fractions. So the line plot made it easier for us to get a total, and then we divided by how many numbers there were. And in this case, the line plot made it easy to count them because all we had to do was count the number of X's. That showed us how many numbers were in our data chart. So hopefully that helps you out. And today, when you go to do your line plot, you're going to be doing the same steps. You have to find a total first. Once you find a total, you can count up how many X's or how many numbers there are in the data set. And that will help you find the average. You're going to divide by the total number of numbers in that data set. All right, guys, good luck today.